We're gonna try to see Mike this weekend, man. He's going to the ninth grade. Like I said, this was his first camp ever. And we watch out for him. I think he's a much better athlete than Jameis was. I think Jameis just was a much smarter athlete at that age than he is. And I'm excited to see what Jonah can do, man. And both of those guys got to keep working hard and getting better, at least getting 1% better each day. And I stay pulling for him.
So how long before he commits to FSU?
Oh, soon as they give us an offer, and soon as we ready, we commit, man. I'm telling you, we commit.
Hey guys, it's Terrence Nan. You're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented by No Game Day. Go Noles.
Hey, what's up? This is Peter Ward, aka E-Dub, in the house. So we're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented by No Game Day. Go Live, go Noles.
Hi, this is Charlie Ward, and you're listening to Hear the Spirit. Go Noles.
This is Terrell Buckley. You're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented by No Game Day. No Bloody.
But perhaps better known as the greatest corner to ever step on a football field, Deion Primetime Sanders.
Great Deion Sanders, my brother. What's going on, man? I could wake up to that greeting every day, man. That was awesome.
Hello, Noles fans. This is former Seminole Derek Brooks, and you're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented to you by No Game Day.
James Wilder Jr. What's going on, James?
Thanks for having me on. SSOD, Florida State or Die, and go Noles.
William Bar None Floyd.
Gentlemen, what's up?
What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Hear the Spirit, presented to you by NoleGameDays.com. We are here on a very hot Thursday evening here in Tallahassee. The heat wave is going all throughout the Southeast, and definitely my home, as I lost AC last night, and we've been dealing with about 89, 87 degrees inside this room. But we're going to make it because we have an incredible guest this week with us. We've got Antonor Winston, Jameis Winston's father. I've been looking forward to grabbing Antonor for an interview for quite a while now, and now everything worked. Schedules fit, and we were able to grab him on. Mr. Winston, good evening. We are excited to have you on the podcast this week.
Hey, what's up, my guys, man? Glad to be here. And go Noles to my Noles fans out there, man.
Yes, absolutely. First off, I got to ask you, though, how's the summer been? What has the family been up to? I know it's been a busy one, I'm sure, but now you've got Jameis doing his thing, you've got Jonah doing his thing, and you got the whole family too. I know y'all are a big family-oriented family group. How's the summer been?
Man, actually, the summer started off pretty okay until Jameis had to get back and go to New Orleans. At first, we had him in Birmingham doing rehab around us, and as soon as he signed back with the Saints, they said, "Come on, let's go try to keep on getting better." And besides that, man, we run around with Jonah P. My grandkids keeping me busy, trying to get back and forth to Tampa, checking on them. Actually, now my daughter had I had another grandson, so there's 3 grandsons that's in the making for me. So I'm running around, Logan, just like you, your kids keeping you busy, bro. I'm staying busy with my grandkids. I think to top it off, I think Jonah finna kind of get me, keep us busy now because like today was his first camp ever in his life. Because we had some coaching duties that we had to come up to the University of Birmingham, where the coaches clinic and the football camp was held at. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of football camps, making sure Jameis is on his road to recovery, which I think he's doing awesome. So, yeah, it's been busy.
I was going to ask you about that recovery because, we're seeing him now at the Saints. Well, first off, OTAs, and now we're getting into the mini camp part. I think they wrapped up things today in New Orleans. How has that been going for him? This is true, really first injury. I'm not sure, through Florida State, he had some dings and some bruises here and there, but he was able to stay healthy for the most part. How has this kind of been for him mentally? We've seen a few YouTube clips here and there on him, and we've been covering it heavily. But how do you think it's been mentally on him? Was this just another challenge for him to hurdle and use as motivation for this upcoming season?
To be honest, man, at first, when it first happened, October the 31st, we didn't know what direction that we was gonna go in, but we knew one thing, that we knew that we had our Lord and Savior that's on our side, that really was going to get us through this crying time. So when I say crying time, Logan, I actually would think this was a blessing in disguise, and I know people kind of get aggravated when you say, "How can an injury be a blessing?" Well, I think it was. The injury detail is itself. Like, if you can say, well, ACL injuries is like a scratch, right? It's like a scratch now. You sew it up and you can just go back out there and play. But when you talk about an ACL or MCL and a straightened up meniscus, that is a serious knee injury. And for him to work himself back the way he worked himself back, he went ahead of schedule, man, it's just been amazing to see that in the course. Now, we still got a long way to go, because you know us, we want to be 110% healthy, not just 100% healthy. So we got a little ways to go. We'll be heading to California in a couple of days to really try to get some good news on that knee, and we hope we'll be ready to go.
You got one, Nate, or were you asking one?
Well, my first question is, I want to jump right into the shirt. There's a lot of people talking about that when he was talking about eating W's, but that's just his mindset. Has he always been that way? That the motivational, maybe a little bit, not what you expect, but people just connect with this kid, and hasn't been always just been Jameis that way.
Well, hey, Jameis always had a real high passion for football or whatever he do. Wherever he put his mind to, he's going to come up with something to, either for us to laugh with or for him to get going. And me, personally, I done seen him say some wild stuff and do some wild things, man. Hey, that's my son. He's just like his dad. But this slogan right here, hey, once it manifests, I think it'll hit all cylinders.
No, for sure. I mean, there's truth behind it, But I want to jump into. I want to skip a little ahead to FSU. That night versus Clemson. You were featured a lot in the stands. They kept flashing to you and your family. How was that night as a fan, knowing that how big that game was? Jameis's first real true test, and he goes out there and just flat dominates. The whole team does, but
right. That's what I was going to say, man. That whole week of practice.
I hope you're talking smack.
Oh my God! Listen. That whole week of practice that Clemson game. I don't know how many guys can remember that. Like Logan, Logan was young, but it seemed like you remember it well. The whole week of practice, man, I think our defense turned all the way up. I'm talking about that week of practice, and our offense was looking like, wait a minute now, guys. Don't forget we got to play Saturday, right? I want to say that probably was the best game of his college career that his family actually witnessed. Now, we've seen a lot of great college games, but that Clemson game for us preparing for that whole week, if you can remember, they gave us almost no chance to win that game. Mostly everybody on the car wash was saying, only good thing they said, if Jameis pulled off this, he'll be considered for the Heisman. But at the same time, they were saying how Clemson and Todd Borge was going to demolish us. And everybody know how that happened. I have Clemson friends now, to this day, that we kind of talk about that game, and I kind of give them the business. So, I mean,
I want to bring it all the way back though. So we're kind of putting you in a whirlwind here, but we're going to go all the way back to high school days of Jameis. And I know that you worked a lot with Jameis and spent a lot of time, I believe, training with him and doing a lot of coaching for him. When did you kind of start getting a sense that something was going to be special here? Was it whenever he started receiving a lot of offers? Was it him just making plays? What really started standing out to you? Was it his leadership, his communication with teammates, or what kind of stood out to you for be like, this young man's got a talent?
Something small to a giant. It's a 2-part question, if you don't mind. At the age of 4, Jameis wanted to play football, Pee Wee football, Pop Warner, and you start off at 7 and 8-year-olds. We've been coaching for a while, and just not did my little 10 out of middle school. And I said, man, I'm going to go down and try to coach with my brother at the time. He was coaching youth ball before he went to high school. And I said, I'm going to go down and give something back to the kids. While I got a son, right? Maybe one day he'll want to play. So we went down. Coach Green happened to be the Pee Wee guy, 75-pound coaches, and with the 7th to 8th graders. And Jameis kept asking to play. I mean, he kept asking to play, and my wife was saying, hey, man, you're 4 years old. These guys 4 years older than you. You're not going to get out there with these kids. So I kind of convinced Lil Run. I said, listen, he's going to play in the next 3 years. So why not let him play with the kids and put on a helmet, get used to the shoulder pads, get used to the pads and stuff like that. And next 3 years, he might be ready to go. Well, make a long story short, he kind of went out there and actually started with the 8-year-olds, man. And right then, I kind of thought that either beginner's luck or this dude was going to be special. Fast forward to middle school, right, as he kept playing, with the camps he going to. Like I said, I'm sitting in the office with the guy that helped him go to his first camp, Coach Vincent, man, marvelous offensive coordinator at the University of Birmingham. After spending much time with him, Jameis started writing a book off coverages, cover 2, cover 4s, what to do, what not to do. And this was like 12 and 13 years old. And once I looked at that notebook and see how detailed he was actually in, people gave all type of excuses. Oh, the reason why he could do that, because you're a coach, Coach Ed. He's just doing what a coach do. But I had no idea that this dude was mimicking and writing a book of his own to study once he get in high school. Well, that book ended up helping him in high school and on through college. So that's when I kind of realized this dude was kind of special.
Does he still hold on to that book? Does he keep that somewhere?
Oh, Logan, I got it, man. It's worth something. It's worth something. I got it.
You got to hold on to that one. I was going to say, you got to hold on to that one.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, now that's some good stuff in there. So then you kind of felt that way, and then he goes into college, or not into college, but he's going into senior year, and you start figuring out your decision there. Y'all as a family and Jameis do start figuring out a decision on where to go college wise. Which schools were really heavily after him, except for, of course, Jimbo and FSU? Which ones were maybe the tight there at the end of his recruitment?
Hey, let's not skip we skipped the part through there, Logan. Right. So 9th grade, that's when people start talking about he got a chance to go to Major League Draft in the 9th grade. Yep. So in the 9th grade, football was like, hey man, you got to stop playing basketball, but man, you still can play football. But these folks talking about you might get drafted out of high school. So you better not play with this football thing, right? So his first offer came going into 10th grade. I think it was Georgia Tech, and offers start ramming in. At the meantime, we had to divide that because people was telling us I don't care how many offers you get, he's not going to go to college and play. He's going to end up going play baseball. And I think the 2012 year that's when that plea bargaining agreement changed that made it kind of difficult for baseball to go right in because they weren't making as much money. And right then, once that changed, we talked about it. And now listen this is something that Jameis wanted to do. Me personally, I was like, okay, now this is something that we want to think about. And he said, Daddy, if they're going to change this here, I might as well go ahead and play football and probably end up doing what I need to do in football, and that's what happened. I really can't talk too much about his offers because Logan, he's just like one of the other 5-star recruits. They had a lot of offers, but for our family, we really couldn't decide until we really got to be a junior or senior, just because baseball played so much a part into that, if you can understand that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What was it about Jimbo in Florida State? You know, because they did a hell of a job. Because I covered his recruitment a little bit. They did a hell of a job with recruiting him, and also Mike Martin too did.
Right. Now that's what I'm finna get ready to say. Jimbo Fisher, man, he always been the man. Always, I mean, that's family to me. But during the recruiting process was really Damian Craig and Levin.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike Martin Jr. dad. Now, Mike Martin Jr., Jimbo, those my guys. They're gonna be my guys forever. But Levin and Damian Craig probably had the most to do with the recruiting part of it during that time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a reason why he seeked out Damian Craig after that championship game was over.
Yeah, no doubt.
Damian and I had a good relationship when he was at Florida State, and we talked about that, about how he was very proud that he played such a huge role in getting Jameis over at Florida State. And people don't talk about that, I think, very much. Coach Craig did a great job.
Man, he did a phenomenal job. Probably one of the best recruiters at that time, if not still now, one of the best recruiters that's in college football. But what Jimbo got some respect from our family, and I mean from our whole family, and especially from a father, because he was Jameis' second father. Realized Damian left that year he recruited. I mean, he left the next year. Man, Jimbo didn't look back. He made sure he stayed honest. He stayed true to Jameis' commitment and whatever went on. So, man, all those guys was awesome. But Levin and Damian played a big part of recruiting. And Mike Jr. and Jimbo, those my guys forever.
Yeah, there was some talk about Stanford coming in at the end. Was that ever really true?
Stanford was never at the end, man. Stanford was in one of his top schools. FSU was a school that, I mean, everybody knows the story. That FSU is my favorite school, from Charlie Ward to all the greats, man. I can go on and on, name all the greats, man. It really was my school. What treat Jameis into FSU, man, not knocking us, because I kind of got mad at him for saying it. Man, we weren't winning. We'll make it to a bowl game, and we just couldn't make it to the dance. And he said, I go to Florida State, and I'm going to turn this thing around. Well, he went to Florida State, and we had a marvelous team to turn that thing around with his help. So he set out to do something and put his mind to, and they accomplished it.
And I'm wondering too, how much was EJ Manuel maybe inside of helping that recruitment too, and what were your thoughts too? He sat a year, and I think a lot of FSU fans were thinking, maybe what about if we had Jameis in there in 2012, and wondering what that could have been. But what were your thoughts about him sitting back?
Come on, you
behind EJ.
Logan, you're in the inside of this hill. You were training day, so you already know our plan wasn't coming in to play as a true freshman, because we were playing baseball. Right, okay. We wanted to get our 3 years in baseball and hope we have a chance to enter the draft. So we was not thinking about playing as a true freshman. Now, was Jameis was? Oh yeah, Jameis was ready to get doggone play right then, right? But it was a business decision, and once he started, you could see it on his face. Daddy, I want to play. But yes, EJ was awesome. He's still a big brother to Jameis to this day, but he was he played an awesome role in his recruiting. And not only that, he had a chance to watch EJ. So we got to get him much praise and much ups for Jameis' success because he just had a chance to learn from him.
I wanted to ask, Nate brought up Stanford, and there were also some rumors about Jameis and Texas at the time of his recruitment. So just in your opinion, if he would have went to another school besides Florida State, where do you think he would have went?
No, Texas was the last school out of 100 schools that came in and offered him. Because Matt Brown honestly told us he just didn't think he was going to get Jameis. He was not going to pull him away from Nick Saban. So he was not going to waste that offer.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer that question more correctly, Florida State was the only school in his father's mind that I realized that he should be going to. For the kid mind, he was just ready to get to a school.
Mm-hmm.
And once he made it up and finally got on our side, come on, guys, you got to be with me. On the nose side, everything happened. Everything happened in the play. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
go ahead.
I was going to say, too, I mean, when you bring in a guy like Jameis, too, I mean, that's the biggest thing for any program. You bring in a 5-star caliber elite prospect, definitely at that quarterback position, you're going to bring guys around him. And that's something that Florida State was able to do, definitely on the offensive line. And Rick Trickett also being that coach there to protect Jameis. But I was just going to ask, being around, you got guys like Rashad Green, you got Kelvin Benjamin, you got Kenny Shaw, who, we love Kenny, having him come on here multiple times throughout the year. He was able to bring a lot of guys around him. And I think that goes to him, how it is nowadays. Even when he goes to the NFL, he's able to impact a locker room pretty quickly. And that's something that I think he did pretty on at Florida State. Was he ever telling you things his freshman year, like, yeah, I want to play, but maybe I got to become a leader and kind of step up? And that way, like you said, he was learning from E.J. Manuel on the sidelines. What we saw in that NC State game and him still going over to guys and talking with them, getting their ear. That's just something that we've always heard of Jameis. He can be a big-time leader, even if no matter if he's just a rookie like he was in Tampa, nor a true freshman coming into Tallahassee.
Oh, no doubt, man. His servitude is remarkable, and his servitude been like that since he was a young boy. He gonna bring players up to his level, and I'm glad you spoke on that on the recruiting process. Man, he probably was doing more recruiting than the coaches in his class, and look how our class turned out.
Yep.
PJ, Ronald Darby, Eddie Goldman, Chris Casher, Marcus Alegwe, oh my God, on and on and on and on and on. And I mean, he always been a kid with a lot of servitude, Logan, and most guys follow. I mean, I haven't had not one player yet that I coach with or that he played with that really had a problem with Jameis besides, man, he won't come off the field. That's the only problem they have with him.
I want to forward the timeline a little bit. Let's go to Pittsburgh. His first start, he only threw one incompletion because I will still swear to God that
Kenny Shaw caught that. Yeah, Kenny Shaw caught that pass. Yes, he did.
After the game, we talk about Jameis. I want to talk about what your thoughts were about that. Again, someone has kids too, and seeing them do what they like to do and succeed. You had to be damn proud. But were you surprised though? Not in a negative way, but
No, I feel what you're saying. I wasn't surprised, right? But then again, I wasn't proud yet because our common goal to every university, especially Florida State, was to come in, get a degree, and win a championship. And that first game, none of that happened. So I wasn't proud. Now, was that first game to really make a mark on his college debut, right? I still got to give it to, man, did not Jimbo dial up an offensive game plan for Pittsburgh?
Phenomenal.
Did you ask the play calling on the first play of the game? A quarterback never started a college game his life opened up with empty, no running back.
Well, that's when we knew that I think we all sat down on the couch and we knew. We were sitting on the couch and we looked at my dad and said, "Oh, they're going to open it up like this, huh? This is how we're going to do it."
Yeah, first down, Kelvin Benjamin. First down.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely when we knew Jameis would do. Hey, we got some play calls here in the back. I won't look. I promise I won't look. On the whiteboard back there.
And let's
I think I muted you, Mr. Winston. I might have muted you on the thing. What you might have to do is cut out and then maybe come back in, and that might fix it over there.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. No, you're good. You're good. Now we got you.
I'm good? You got me?
All set. Yes, sir.
Cool.
Go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, I was just saying,
Okay.
then Jimbo dialed that game up. That's he dialed. He was really ready for that game. He had us prepared, man, to go and play on that stadium like that. It was awesome. And
kind of talked a little bit before you jumped on. I want to jump into the off the field stuff. That first year at Florida State, and how was it? As a family, had to be tough to see your kid going through that. Also, at maybe the best time of his life personally, and having all the success, but then having all the stuff that was in the news every day at ESPN and all this kind of bullshit. Now that we look at it,
a life learns lesson. Like right now, it helped his servitude. He can go on to speak to other kids about his situation and be able to help other situations, man, that he been through and have a counter. I can't say too much for the media, the way they portray things right there. That's why I like to talk to people that was close to the situation, because they kind of know what really went on. And the people that really didn't know what was going on, we kind of ignored them. And I think we was kind of good at that, ignoring that bull stuff. Recently, I just not coming out strong now. That injury made me wake up a little something. We was too quiet for too long. And once I saw him get up and fall back down, I kind of promised to myself, if I hear any type of rumor or any type or, oh my God.
Gossip.
Yeah. But not gossip. I don't want to answer to every gossip, but I want to say a rumor or something that's not true. I think I'm going to be a little bit more vocal about it, because watching your son go down in a game that he loved, that was a hurting feeling.
Especially against, his former team, and he's playing damn well.
Yeah, we won't take that for granted no more. I promise you that.
Yeah.
And then, that go ahead a little bit, and then that Miami game, that's probably my favorite game I've ever been to, just because of who it was. I'm a notorious Miami hater. I can't stand Miami, but I'm thinking of the play specifically when they hit him late, and then Bobby Hart jumps in. Next play, Kelvin Benjamin carries the guy into the end zone. I think that's when I knew that he really had the team, because they jumped on him real quick. But
hey, yes sir. Bobby Hart did not play about Jameis.
Nope.
Hey, none of that offensive line played about Jameis. I'm serious. Those were some beasts up front, baby. The first year, oh my God, you couldn't play with them.
Nope.
No, they love Jameis. I mean, that's how he was in the locker room. When did you kind of feel like Florida State was going to go on a run here and go undefeated in that first season under Jameis? When did you kind of feel it? I felt it when I was up there in Death Valley and Clemson. We weren't expecting that kind of performance. We weren't expecting. We were nervous up there, and that was our first year actually covering. My first year ever covering FSU. I'd go up there with my phone and try to tweet and everything, and so that was definitely a special year for us. But just for Florida State in general, fans here were not really expecting that. And for a freshman like that to go in and perform, I know the defense just absolutely dominated, starting off just from LaMarcus Joyner. Then you've got Mario Edwards Jr. I mean, just absolute domination. But, when did you kind of feel like, yeah, this is a national champion type caliber team?
Hey, I'm with you. I told you that whole week of practice,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. I think it might be bugging.
Technical difficulties.
There we go. Now I got you. I think we got. Oh, wait. I think it's muted now. There
Can
we
you
go.
hear me? I'm sorry, man. Hey, they're looking for me. I'm trying to call, man. I got a couple of seconds. Hey, let me answer this question because this is awesome. I'm like you, Logan. After that Clemson game, man, I thought we had a chance because that whole week, like I told you, that whole week, that defense was, oh my God, they was all about it. They was down in. And remember, nobody did not give the number 5 team a chance to beat the number 3 team.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't do that whole week. I mean, y'all was here. So after we won that game, and like you said, the way we played, sound, oh my God, I just kind of thought, man, the only team we could probably that match us is a team at the state of Alabama, one of those teams. And guess what? It was one of those teams.
You know, you talked about the game plan that Jimbo drew up. That game plan versus Clemson was, I think, just as good. Maybe, the execution was flawless too, across the board.
No, you're right. Jimbo did play well. I think they came in together, did a great offensive plan. But Coach Pruitt, my God, Coach Pruitt, that was his first week of really. I think him and Jimbo got into it, and they never got into it. That was his first moment of saying, "We have the best defense in the country. Offense, you give me 3 touchdowns, we winning." Damn.
Yeah.
But we actually gave the defense 8 touchdowns a game.
Exactly. I want to jump a little bit forward now because I know we don't have a whole lot of time with you, but I want to jump over to, the national championship and winning the Heisman. I mean, how did that feel being over there during the ceremony, at least getting the Heisman there? How was it really emotional for you and the family? I mean, we saw Jimbo tearing up a little bit. How was that experience for you and the family?
Man, it was awesome to go through what we went through, good and bad, right? Good and bad moments, and to to reach and receive a award of that magnitude, man, that was an honor within itself. Not only the Heisman, man, we collected a lot of awards that year, and we were so grateful that our team allowed us to receive those.
Mm-hmm. And then I want to ask you, going now, we've already talked about his recovery, but he leaves Tampa Bay. He gets drafted number 1 by Tampa Bay, but ends up leaving and goes to sit behind. You don't see a lot of quarterbacks, and definitely I feel like with his he's definitely a big time competitor. But to be able to go sit behind a year and know that behind a legend at quarterback with Drew Brees, he does that to learn behind him and be also coached under Sean Payton. But now this is his team in New Orleans. How has the New Orleans community kind of got along with you guys? The family has welcomed y'all in. It seems like that fan base is really excited for year 2 of Jameis Winston.
Hey, that fan base, I finally got into real fan base. Now, it's not like Florida State fan base, okay? But it's better than where we came from. And I can't knock Tampa either. We had some pretty nice people in Tampa that actually support us. But New Orleans fan base, they take it to another level. We may have some problems with some of their little podcasters, and if you ask me, I'm not a real big fan of Bobby Hebert, and I really wanted to say his name like that because I think he really played both sides of the fence, and I guess everybody got to learn a lesson to come around with.
Mm-hmm. And go ahead.
I think Bobby Hebert is a little bit jealous about his low ceiling as a quarterback, but that's just my opinion. But
I give you a fact because we don't have to go with opinions. Like before we got to New Orleans, right before we got to New Orleans, my people gave us some of the names to reach out to. Out to, be good when you first walk in the door. So Bobby Abrams was one of them, and I have a great friend that's real good friends with him, and he reached out to Bobby and said, "Hey, the Winstons would like to reach out to you to tell you what's up right there." And he gave him the cold shoulder and never met Jameis in that. And I kind of thought that was kind of odd. And so I got my assistant to really call up to the radio station itself, because I'm like, I know he wouldn't lie to me, so let me just hear this for myself. They don't know us. I mean, we haven't even much went to a practice yet. So we called up there and we kind of got the same tone. And by me seeing him report, it's basically the same thing, man. I'm just going to pray for those guys that have those hateful, whatever they have toward Jameis, and all we got to do is just show up and prove them wrong, man. And whoever with him, I feel the same way about them as they feel about Jameis. So it's kind of
I know we, right, for the Bucks, also, but for Father's Day that year, I got my mom got me a Jameis jersey, a Bucks jersey, and I still wear that because I'm down in the Tampa area, and it's still hotly debated. Your son and his time in Tampa Bay, but I think that last year, had that injury not happened, that New Orleans was bound for the playoffs.
And that's crazy thing with the weapons. Jameis was able to work with what he had. I
had a lack of weapons,
Yep, I got to see him in Jacksonville because they weren't playing in New Orleans, and got to see Jameis play last year, and that was definitely fun to see him just eat up the Green Bay Packers and just torch them up. I have two just really quick things here. I wanted to mention Jameis does a lot, and I noticed this a ton just covering him. He does a lot in the community. Mr. Winston,
yes.
Where does that come from? Because he did a whole ton in Tampa during his time, and now he's doing a whole lot more too in New Orleans. Where does that come from within him? Is that something that he just likes doing?
Servitude, man. Yeah. Dreams forever, man. The mission of Jameis Winston, Dreams Forever Foundation, man. To impact financially disabled kids, man. And one thing about Jameis that we don't know. Ever since in middle school and high school, he always took to special need kids. He always took to kids that's less fortunate than him. So it's his servitude. His grandmother. I think he kind of saw his uncles and coaching and taking care of little league guys, and he just always had it in him to be a great servitude. So. Logan, he always had that in him.
And then Jonah Winston. Do we need to keep an eye out for Mike Norvell going after?
Please do, man. We're going to try to see Mike this weekend, man. He's going to the 9th grade. Like I said, this was his first camp ever. And we watch out for him. I think he's a much better athlete than Jameis was. I think Jameis just was a much smarter athlete at that age than he is, and I'm excited to see what Jonah can do, man. And both of those guys got to keep working hard and getting better, at least getting 1% better each day, and I stay pulling for him.
So, how long before he commits to FSU?
Soon as they give us an offer, and soon as we ready, we commit, man. I'm telling you, we commit.
Are y'all coming to one of the camps this weekend?
Oh yeah, we'll be there Saturday.
Okay,
for sure.
Sweet deal. Perfect. That sounds good. I know that we said 30 minutes here, so I appreciate you staying on for another 8 minutes. I'm sure maybe down the road to grab you back on here whenever you have time, because this is awesome. We could talk about this for hours upon hours, but I think it's always a great thing, because what Jameis went through in his freshman year to at FSU, there's a lot of family. You had to have a strong family behind him on that. I got to give props to y'all, and y'all got a son that's Now, let's see what happens in New Orleans. I'm excited. It's going to be a fun one to cover. Definitely get some rematches against the Bucks. So
let's top it up. Thank y'all for having me. Hey, we will talk again. Please invite me back on. If you don't, I will constantly keep supporting you guys. And Logan, thank you again. Y'all stay up, and hey, go Noles, man.
Go Noles, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Winston. Have a good evening. Safe travels.
All right. You too. All right, man.
Thank you. Well, sweet deal. There was Mr. Winston on the pod. Been working on that one just for a little while now, and I think we could go on for hours upon hours.
Yeah, that could have been like a 2-hour interview.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. I was like, God, I have about 18. Every time one question was asked, like, oh, but I got 3 more to ask outside of that. But
got a little nugget too, because Jameis Winston's brother will be on Florida State's campus this weekend.
Yeah, I know.
They're holding a quarterback camp on Saturday, so I'm guessing he's coming to that. But
might as well tweet that
clarify for me after the show, Logan.
Yeah. A little nugget there for us to share. But yeah, no, watch out for it. 2026. Got to start keeping an eye. But he said, grab the offer. And if everything fits, he said he's going to be a Knoll. So yeah, great stuff there.
Put a bow in that bad boy.
I know, right? Woo. If y'all, I mean, I'm telling y'all, I know it's really extremely early. Early, but go check out some of Jonah Winston's film on his Huddle page. Watch out.
Yeah.
That's all I got. And just like Antonor said, there's definitely a lot more athleticism than what Jameis had, and that's no knock on Jameis, but this little dude can move.
Yeah, he doesn't run like an ostrich.
No. But yeah, hey, appreciate the $4.99 from Captain Knoll over here, dropping a little donation for us on YouTube. Let's jump into some actual current commits that happened over the last week or so since we've been recording. There's been 3 JUCO defensive end. Jaden Jones picks Florida State 2023 safety Quadarius Jones. We got the Joneses coming in this week, all deciding to go with Florida State and Mike Norvell. And then, a late one here into the 2022 class. We'll have a discussion on this one. But defensive lineman Ayobami Tafase is going with the Noles. 6'4", around close to 315 now practically. Let's start off with
17
Tafase.
years old.
Good job on pronouncing that name, by the way, because he did clarify this weekend it's Ayobami, not Ayobami.
It's Ayo.
So you nailed it, Logan. Good job.
Heck yeah, that's I trained a little bit. I kind of cheated yesterday on Mark's show, so kind of had the go ahead there. So it kind of helps doing those on Wednesday nights to kind of understand how to say these names, because usually, as usual, I would probably screw that one up. But this is a big time pickup for Florida State in that defensive line room. He joins Bishop Thomas along with Daniel Lyons, which I thought had some, good for a true freshman coming in, had a pretty decent spring camp. What are your thoughts after, you actually got to speak with him? I heard that he has a pretty good handshake too. Dustin, is your hand all right? Is recovering?
Bro, like I'm all jacked up. He broke my hand, but he came to Florida State for his official visit over the weekend. It was a busy week for him actually, because he was at Virginia Tech, then he went to Arkansas, and then he wrapped things up at Florida State with the official visits. And like you said, Logan, figuratively and literally, 6'3.5", 311 pounds or so. And I mean, just pretty much all muscle. Actually, when he first arrived for the official visit on Saturday, he was walking in with Odell, and I didn't even bother taking a picture of him because I thought he was someone's coach. He just looks like a grown ass man at 17 years old. And I had to clarify. I was like, was that him? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, Jesus. But anyway, he spent a lot of time with Odell. He's been building a big relationship there ever since the offer. And Florida State's pitch basically to him is that he's going to have a chance to instantly compete for playing time in 2023. Florida State expecting some attrition from guys like Robert Cooper, maybe Fabian Lovett. Depending how the fall goes, they could go to the NFL because Tafase, he's going to have to academically redshirt during the fall as a partial qualifier, but then he'll be able to hit the ground running in January 2023. And really, this is kind of like your Tyree West replacement, I would say, a guy with a lot of potential and someone coming in that's ready to put in the work. So he's got that exact mentality that Florida State and Mike Norvell are looking in the players that they're bringing into this program. And really, in my opinion, this is a great late addition for Florida State to the roster.
I mean, they're pretty much landing a 4-star defensive lineman with a guaranteed red shirt. The kid is 6'4", 310, 311, whatever it is. And, he's just scratching the surface. This is like, I'm sure Odell's foaming at the mouth to get his hands on this kid because, he also has skills. He's not just a big kid that, is rated as a 4-star because of his potential. He also produces at this at his high school level, but also has that still room to grow ceiling wise in order to get better. And you add him with Lyons and Bishop, who both showed some flashes during spring. That class and turns out pretty solid. And we've talked about on here last year. This last year, that last class wasn't a very good defensive line class across the country, but it looks like Florida State hit 2, and then you get this kid to come in late. I think that's high quality, damn good, on top of being able to get Woody and keeping him on offense. I know we debated offense, defense, but now you get your guy in the interior who can, bolster that run game and possibly be that center, or it's a win-win situation for Norvell and the staff.
Yeah, and to your point, Nate, this is one that Odell personally has been pushing for over the last couple months. And, Tafasi was flip-flopping after that official visit to Florida State. It kind of seemed like he was leaning towards Arkansas, then he was leaning towards Florida State. It was up in the air, but, he spoke with his family, he spoke with his high school coaches about that decision. And, I really think it benefited Florida State to get that final official visit. I think they were on his mind the most coming out of Tallahassee, and they were able to get it done. And Florida State likes him at defensive tackle or nose tackle. They're just kind of get him in the program and see how it works out from there.
Yeah, I mean, move on to the next kids that committed. Just look how wide he is. Dustin saw him in person, and look how long his arms are. He's going to be a player.
Yeah, the work ethic is big, and got to give the props to Odell here. I know a lot of the FSU Twitter has their ups and downs on Mr. Odell Higgins, but a lot of these guys will come in and believe in what Higgins has done, and he's done one of the best jobs in the country, if not the best, in putting guys consistently into the NFL. He'll do it again this upcoming season with Robert Cooper and Fabian Lovett. So this is just something else that Odell Higgins was able to do. I know the miss on Tyree West sucks, but you come in and you're able to fix that later on, and really recruitment really started in April. So, and if you go to his Instagram, the work ethic, Dustin and Nate aren't lying there. Go see how much training this kid is doing for that size and how young he is. Yeah, you got to like what you can work with, and you got to like also. I know Odell's foaming at the mouth, but think about Coach Storms too. Yeah, he's excited.
And I know some people were upset about Quindarius Jones, but again, that's another kid you go cut his film on. That kid did a hell of a job at Florida State's camp. The purpose of camp is to find recruits, find prospects that you think fit your system, and you offer them. So I get it, he's from Mississippi and he's a 3-star or whatever, but this kid is 6'2", almost 190, can play either safety spot, and it even has a frame to possibly grow into a linebacker. So again, kid's an athlete. Great take, especially at this stage.
Yeah, he was one of the more impressive defensive backs in attendance at Florida State's elite camp a couple of weeks ago. And to your point, Nate, on saying that people should watch film, no one that's complaining is watching the film. I mean, they just like to complain. But this is a kid
watching.
A lengthy athletic DB who's really just starting to figure out his game. And as you mentioned, I think there's a chance he could grow into a linebacker at the college level. It's just kind of going to depend how his body fills out. But, Florida State, the first offer in this recruitment, I don't think they're going to be the last.
Nope.
We've seen this a couple times over Mike Norvell's tenure now. They're one of the first schools to offer a kid, and then bang, their recruitment starts blowing up. So I don't think we should start criticizing this one so early.
Just yet, yep.
Yeah, not too yet. But, yeah, he was impressive. He looked good against Vidarius Jacobs, Florida State's current wide receiver commit whenever we were there at the elite camp.
And he had a strong camp too.
Yeah. No, he and Camden did a wide receiver, but he was able to hang around with those guys. And that probably right there put some eyes on them from the staff and or they feel like they might have gotten a little bit of a steal here. But, Quindarius Jones, 2023 safety right now, could be moved around a little bit, but we'll see if Florida State can hold on to him. And then there was one more JUCO defensive end, Jaden Jones. This one's a pretty interesting one to me because listening to the interview that we were able to have with him, the staff thinks very highly of this kid. Another guy with size, and we're starting to see a rhythm here. Definitely when you're on the trenches.
6'4", 250.
Yeah. But in the interview, in the interview though, the staff said, they brought up Jermaine Johnson. They said that they see something in where he can impact the game just like Jermaine Johnson did. They feel like he can come in and be developed with Odell Higgins, Coach JP, and be developed into a playmaker like Jermaine Johnson was. And that's something that he's looking forward to taking on that challenge once he arrives in Tallahassee next year. But yeah, another big boy coming in on the line for Florida State.
And he goes to a quality JUCO too. Hutchinson, is one of the best ones. So he'll be coached up and he'll be ready to go. Don't think you have to worry about grades with this kid. He's got his head on his shoulders. He's really excited to get to Florida State.
Yeah, and this is a guy that I think has a lot of potential because if you look at his film from a year ago to now, there's been a lot of improvement. He's getting off the line of scrimmage quicker. He looks a little bit more confident when plays are developing, and he just looks like a more complete player than he did in some of his film from the past. So I think this is a good take for Florida State. And Nate, I believe you did the interview with him. Do you know how many years of eligibility he has remaining coming out of junior college?
He's going to have 3.
3 to play?
4 to play 3.
So that's a good take for Florida State, and you get a guy with multiple years of eligibility who I think, like I mentioned on Quindarius Jones, just starting to really figure out his game and his frame and how to utilize it the best.
Yeah, and you're adding that now to Lamont Green Jr., who I know all 3 of us here are very excited for. Dustin, you and I got to see him at the elite camp and got to see Odell Higgins actually foaming at the mouth after one of his reps.
Norvell was too. All the coaches over there. They
were all
eyes
foaming
on him, and he blew it out of the water. We talked about it.
I'm saying it now. That kid ends up a top 75 player by the end of the cycle in the final ratings because I expect him to just build on last year. You look at that get off and his explosion, and he just continues to grow. Exactly, it's natural gifted ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
I
can't
can see it. I can see it. It just feels like recruiting services hate on guys that are already committed. Yeah.
But sometimes you just can't. You can't avoid the obvious. If
Marvin Jones was a top 10 prospect in the 2022 class, then Lamont Green Jr. has got to be a top 50.
Yeah. On three had Marvin Jones as a number 1 player in the country, and he had 5 sacks as a senior. But I'm excited for Marvin Jones to transfer to Florida State in 2 years, so I can't wait.
Yep. And Mims is still out there too, so it's going to be a fun next couple of years.
Yeah, man.
It's always been Mims. Never lets us down.
Yep. It's Mims till it's not, till he graduates.
Exactly. It will never end. And then
do we want to
go ahead?
Do we want to mention Antavius Woody making it to campus?
That's huge.
Hey, that's me and Nate. That was me foaming at the mouth there for having Antavius come because we see a little bit of you can't get on the caliber of Timmy Jernigan. That's my guy, but you see the little instincts and maybe the talent trait and that physicality, that just nasty mode that he can click on, and that's Antavius Woody. But this is big for Antavius. Absolutely. You're here now in Tallahassee. You can get in that weight room. He can be there and start the academic process in college. But then also now, Florida State and the staff and what they were able to do to get him here. There was a lot of question marks when we were covering early signing day. And we didn't get to exactly see if he was signing a piece of paper or what he was signing.
That was National Signing Day. They
Signing
didn't even give him anything for December. So I think it just shows credit to both parties for sticking together, and especially to Woody for getting everything done in the classroom to make it to Florida State. And, the expectation is that he will redshirt for the fall. So going to be huge for him to get hopefully a head start on those academics, get everything shored away.
I think it says a lot about the kid to knuckle down to in a span of 5 months to go from not even getting a piece of paper to sign to being fully qualified to get into college, and He's achieving a dream. So I tip my cap to him. And to the coaches too. They put the plan together, and like you said, Dustin, both sides stuck with it. So you got to be happy for both.
And that's another scholarship down for Florida State. I believe they're at either 82 or 83 out of the 85. So there's a couple spots left.
I think they're at 83 now with Tafasi and Woody.
Yeah, I need to go back through it and calculate it, but it's 82 or 83.
Yeah.
I'm positive on that, and we'll see how they feel the rest of that 85. There's been rising optimism about Destin Hill. They had Oregon transfer defensive back Damon David on campus over the weekend for an official visit. If I had to put in a prediction right now, I would say David is going to end up at Florida State. His only options right now are returning to Oregon or making that transfer to FSU. And the head coach that recruited him at Oregon is now at Miami. A couple of his friends from Oregon, Micah Pittman, Trey Benson, are now at Florida State. He actually said Benson is one of his best friends, and that he loves to see that he's doing well at Florida State. So I just think the signs are kind of there that he's going to end up taking. It looks like Florida State wants one more defensive back in. It looks like it's going to be David, and that leaves you with maybe South Carolina transfer Jazin Turnitine named a top 2 of Florida State and Michigan State a couple days ago. I think both schools are still trying to figure out if they can offer him a full scholarship, and he's going to end up at the program that does make that full scholarship offer.
Waiting on Dustin.
Yeah, that's the thing. It seems like now this weekend might have to go to the Moore. Might have to set up a GoPro or some kind of surveillance, like some kind of camera out there to keep an eye out for the unicorn.
Things are set up and prepared. If he's not here this weekend, it ain't happening.
Yeah, I think it's if we don't hear anything on Monday, then it's
Monday Summer C, right?
Yeah, Monday the semester begins.
So there's different kind of things, but you definitely want to. It makes sense for Hill to arrive this weekend, most certainly.
At the least, I think at the least he would have to be here by the end of next week because that's when ad drop is. But
I know you would like to be here this weekend, move in, get into champs, and have one of your top playmakers. From what I heard, he stayed in shape and has done individual workouts.
But that also means you've got to keep your eye on David. You've got to keep your eye on Turnitine because they've got to get in for the summer to be eligible for the fall.
Yeah, this scholarship situation is going to wrap itself up here in the next 10 days.
It's going to be fun. Finally, we had a boring May, and June has been pretty awesome so far. So sign me up all day long for this. Florida State's also going to have a linebacker officially visiting this upcoming weekend. Blake Nicholson, a California guy. Nate, you were able to catch up with him. And also you got KJ Sampson also coming in, but he's coming in for an unofficial on Saturday. But maybe some more on this linebacker from California.
I'm a big fan of linebackers that play running back and vice versa. You cut this kid's film on. He ran for almost 2,300 yards on 200 carries. So he's averaging over 10 yards a carry, 36 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns through the air. And then you put him on defense, 11 sacks, creating plays on defense. He had an interception return for a touchdown. So the kid's a playmaker. They like him at middle. He told me he's 6'2", 215. Said that he has a couple offers for running back, but he feels that his long-term future is at linebacker, so that's what he wants to play in college. Distance isn't a factor for him. The biggest thing for him is the relationship that he forms with the coaches, and that's something that Randy Shannon and Norvell and the coaching staff so far has done a great job with. Florida State gets the first visit. If it goes well, he does intend to be in town for a game in the fall. So I know it's kind of sucks to get the first visit, but listening to what he has to say, one reason why he wanted to get on campus is because how quickly and how well the two sides have connected. So he wanted just to come over and make a visit. So, and the staff, once they offered, we're pushing to get a visit locked in pretty quickly. So he's got Oregon next week. Has 18 offers and a growing list. So I love those two-way players, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I know you do.
To your credit, Nate, I believe Florida State offered him in May, and they got the official visit set up shortly after. But I'm interested to see how everything goes during his 48 hours in Tallahassee and get a chance to speak with him about his experience before he departs town. But I definitely have my eyes on Oregon in this one. I know he's been there. It's easier to get to Oregon than Tallahassee, granted, but I think he's been there 2 or 3 times on an unofficial. Got that official visit next weekend. So, at least for me, when it comes to a lot of recruitment, it's not every recruitment, but I follow those visits.
Yeah, for sure. And, and when you look at Oregon, they have Dan Lanning, who, has the tools to be a pretty decent head coach and, hella successful at every stop he's had. So, for a guy that wants to play linebacker in college, playing for Dan Lanning wouldn't be a bad decision. But I know Florida State really likes him. They like your chances once they get him on campus, and you see what happens after that.
And also good to get a defensive line commitment, KJ Sampson, back in Tallahassee for an unofficial. I believe he's going to be at North Carolina State tomorrow before making that trip to Tallahassee with his family. Going to be on campus at least Saturday, maybe Sunday, before heading back to North Carolina. But, Florida State got this commitment back in March, unexpected at the time. So I think it's important to have him back around the team, the coaches in person prior to his senior season. Then it seems like the plan is to take an official visit around October or so, and then obviously sign with Florida State during the early signing period.
I don't think FSU is really concerned.
I don't think so either.
And then, you and I talked to him quite a few times. I think, when he committed.
We met him.
Yeah, we met up with him.
And the family and dad and mom.
They seem very content. And he said then that he's still going to take visits. So, you gotta let these kids do what they need to do in order to shore up their minds. NC State's not going to stop recruiting him, being the in-state school. But I think FSU is in a solid spot here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And other than that, I mean, it's going to be a busy weekend out there at Florida State. They're holding an individual camp tomorrow and Saturday, and I believe that there's a quarterback camp and a kicking camp on Saturday as well. Obviously, Jonah Winston going to be at that quarterback camp, but we'll see who else makes it out for those 2 camps. I'm planning tentatively to be out there, as much as I can. But.
And there's always people that show up that aren't playing. So.
Do we want to mention the official visitors from last weekend? Because we didn't get a chance to go over Brock Glenn, Ricky Collins, Shelton Sampson, or Luke Burgess.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to go through those since we didn't get to cover them yet on the pod.
So yeah, let's start with the quarterbacks. Brock Glenn, he had an official visit to Florida State this past weekend. He's going to be at Ohio State this weekend for an official visit, and spent a lot of time around Coach Tokarz, Coach Norvell. After the visit, said that things couldn't have gone any better. He kind of came into the official visit unsure about Florida State and where he stood in regards to the other quarterbacks on the board, and they were able to straighten everything out with him, give him a clear plan for what they want to do with his future, and obviously he's developed a pretty good relationship with Norvell and Tokarz. So I think Florida State, they've set themselves up as well as they can in this recruitment, especially, with the offer just coming a couple of weeks ago. If I had to pick right now, I think they're right there neck and neck with Auburn. And I think Ohio State is going to get a chance to jump into it after this official visit. So Brock looking to make a decision either by the end of the month or early July at the latest. So we should know soon, but Florida State got to be feeling confident with what they did on the visit. It wasn't ideal to have, I would say, Brock and Ricky Collins together at the same time doing official visits, but that was just kind of how the timing worked out, and Florida State made the best of it, I would say. And same thing with Ricky. Spent a lot of time with Norvell and Coach Tokars. He did not interview before he left campus. They kind of stuck him out, but from all accounts, it went extremely well.
I think that with the situation with Parson and, the instability there, I think that Florida State had to act quickly and get these two on campus as quick as possible. I know they like Glenn a lot, and as you just kind of talked about, his recruitment, is picking up steam. Ohio State is gonna, I think, play a factor. He seemed very excited about that offer, but also, he sang a lot of praises about Florida State staff and the presentation they gave him and how they see him fitting in the offense. I think either one of them, they gotta land one of them, because that seems like the board after that is who's that, because they want two quarterbacks. Your quarterback commitment is very shaky, so you got to get one of those two at worst. Yeah,
I agree. And there's a couple guys in mind that Florida State has. They want to see how it plays out with these three guys right now before they dive deeper, I would say, into the board. And Ricky, they're pretty confident there. It kind of seems like it's between Florida State and Purdue. He's still in the process of setting up visits, but LSU hasn't been much of a factor to this point. But that's moving into Shelton Sampson. LSU is definitely a factor there. And I think one reason that Florida State had Ricky Collins come this past weekend for his official visit was because they had Sampson coming as well. And obviously those two are friends. They're 7-on-7 teammates. And I just kind of had a feeling Seminoles wanted to sell, hey, let's keep this package going for another 3 or 4 years to hopefully get you guys to the NFL. And, it seemed like both of them really, really vibed with the coaching staff over the weekend. And they spent a lot of time on campus and off campus just developing those relationships with the staff. And I think we'll see both players back on campus again in the future.
Yeah. Well, I said it last week. Florida State's wide receiver recruiting is hotly debated, but they have their chart, and they're still in it for several guys. They have a little bit of an ace in the hole with Gay Fertitta, his old coach, being on the staff. It'll be tough with LSU and Bama. I think that as long as Florida State has a solid year and they show something on offense, I think that Sampson's a legitimate possibility.
Yeah, and he was actually, I believe, the first official visitor to get to Tallahassee and campus as well. So him and his family spent ample time with the coaching staff and just making sure that both they know the fit for him in the program, and that there's also that comfortability to be able to leave Louisiana and spend his college career in Florida. So I think they're well on that path to making that a reality. And Nate, I don't know if you want to go into Luke Burgess since you were able to speak with him.
Yeah. See him at left tackle. Florida State, Carolina, Louisville have been, that's his final three. Louisville gets a visit this weekend, and then he's going to make a decision pretty soon after that. He told me that his decision will come no later than sometime in July. He really wants to get it over with by the end of June, and he wants to get it wrapped up. He won't take visits to any other school after he makes his decision. He was extremely impressed with Coach Atkins and, again, his presentation and how going over film and how they see him fitting in the offense. Both players and coaches made it a point to him how bad they need tackles, and that seemed like that was something that resonated with him, that he could come in and possibly play early. You have a kid who's nearly 6'8", 290 pounds, and, he fits that prototypical tackle spot. So enjoyed the visit. Florida State has been recruiting him, and they've, have built, again, Atkins does a tremendous job. I think that Louisville is probably going to be the main competition. We'll see what happens after coming off this visit, but, Florida State's firmly there in order to land his commitment, and I think he's definitely a take.
Yeah, I always hate not getting the final official visit.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Florida State fans know real well how that works.
So it feels like maybe Florida State's banking on either him or Lucas Simmons to be their left tackle in this class.
Yeah, and Simmons is taking his recruitment, maybe not the duration, but he's going to take some time. And you have Roger Kearney who could play right tackle. They like him a lot, but right now it just seems like it's Simmons as the other option for left tackle.
For sure, and he'll be at Florida State the end of the month, from the 24th to 26th for his official visit.
Again, for what, the fifth time? Fifth time?
Florida State, they're getting the last official visit for Simmons before he makes that commitment, which he told me a couple weeks ago, probably going to happen in July or August at the latest. And then you mentioned Kearney. Kearney right now looks like he's going to go all the way, maybe not make a commitment until December, but you got to feel confident with where Florida State stands because he's another guy that's been on campus just a ton.
And then, 2024, lineman Jason Zandamela, who's teammates with Lucas Simmons, also likes FSU a ton. So that would be something to watch moving forward.
Yep, that 24 to 26 weekend for official visitors going to be pretty stacked. I believe there's 6 or 7 guys at this time, and we mentioned Chris Parson earlier. I was actually told a few days ago he'll be taking an official visit to Florida State June 24th to 26th, which, man, that's going to be a busy stretch for that kid because he'll be at Florida State for that official visit. Then the Elite 11 starts on the Elite 11 finals in Los Angeles start on June 27th and go for 4 days through the 30th. So, I mean, man, from the 24th to about the 30th,
he's gone.
It's going to be a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
Three different time zones, too, because you got to think he's coming from Central Time in Nashville. He'll get to Eastern Time in Tallahassee, and then he's going all the way to Pacific Time when he gets out of Los Angeles. So, man.
But does that say something to you about him, risking time and energy for Elite 11, but to come in and do an official visit for a big-time weekend like that? Is that kind of crutch away some of the Twitter people that are freaking out right now? Doesn't?
No.
Are y'all opposite on this?
No, I just think you follow the visits, for someone that.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's coming down and visiting.
For someone that went from pro FSU, locked in, it's a done deal, and then he takes a visit, and I think a visit was going to happen. Period. I think the coaches did that on purpose to get him in on that big weekend, but it doesn't make me feel any better.
Yeah, I do think it helps to get him back on campus again, because he was just here a couple weeks ago. So to have 2 short visits in such a time span, certainly important. And, Florida State, they were talking about maybe moving this depending on the schedule, but I believe that Parson wanted to go ahead and go through with it because he knows that there's going to be some important visitors in attendance, and he wants to be around those guys to make his pitch to get them to join him in the class. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Obviously, this situation has been fluctuating over, I guess, the last 4 or 5 weeks. Parson was at Mississippi State last weekend. I heard he didn't work out. Nate heard that he did work out. So we're kind of mixed there in that discussion, but we'll just have to see.
Listen, I don't care if you're worked out or not. I would love for him to come on this visit and be like, you know what? This is it, because he's been the bell cow. He's got a ton of ability. I like him a lot as a quarterback, and I think that it would ease a lot of concerns from the fans who can relax a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good scenario. I don't think that's going to happen though.
No,
I'm
a big fan of Parson. I like him a lot, not because you've had him on the pod, not because he's done the recruiting stuff article with us. I just think that he has the abilities that are going to carry over to what the college game is. And, Florida State's got to hold on to him. And I would love for him to come in this visit and be like, I'm done. Publicly say it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'd be nice, but just based off the way that recruitment's kind of going, I have heard he might take some more official visits down the line. So we'll just have to see how the summer progresses and just how the situation keeps going.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he does that Elite 11, how Glenn does that Elite 11. While I think some of that whole thing is a little blown out of the water, it's
kind
just
of thing where you
camp.
just take it out of you just got to take it out of your own kind of opinion. Yeah, don't go off of rankings. Take it, you watch it on your own, and then you do your own personal ranking. We should do our own rankings. We should do our own rankings. Nate, how about that? How about we do our own rankings? And
we did about
legit rankings.
We did about Unconquered Talk.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. Actually, give it legit rankings here. No bias.
We evaluated every FSU offer in Florida and Georgia, and also every Florida and Georgia Division I caliber athlete. So we ended up looking at like 600 kids and rating them.
I'm just going to ask for
I'm not
the Elite 11. I'm just going to do the Elite 11. I'm just asking for the Elite 11 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Hopefully that one will be a little bit easier.
But they've only landed that right, and that was Trent Dilfer with Jameis. For real. No. That whole talking about, how impressed he was with this kid's mental, acumen, and, the physical was there, but what's going to set him apart, and he, if you look back at that, Dilfer kind of was on top of it, late game situations, he's going to lead his team to a win, which he did in the championship game, so.
Yep.
But you mean when he gives praise to 20 of the top quarterbacks in the country and one of them turns out doing well, he did a good job,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then.
Yeah.
But I am excited. We're going to get a chance to see all three of these guys that Florida State has offered at the Elite 11 finals. Parson, Glenn, and Ricky Collins will be there as well. So, I don't think any of us are going to be out there in LA to cover it, but hopefully we get a chance to see some of the clips and other things that hit social media so we can, give what kind of opinion we can off of social media clips.
Yeah.
Agreed, Carol. The quarterback's got to be an alpha.
Yep. I agree. And Tom's asking if we're going to do a contest to have a fan come on and do a coast.
Tom made that contest up himself last week in the comments.
Yeah, no, he's pushing for it. He might have to be the fan that comes on.
Tom, you generate the contest, the idea, what the contest should be, send it to Logan, and then we'll go from there. But you can't make it where it favors you.
So got a helmet to raffle off, a 25-hour live stream to
24. Whoa, 25 hours.
It's 25. It's 25 now. It's a penalty.
No way in hell. Every year you add on an hour. That's a lot of beers.
So there's a lot of other responsibilities that Logan has yet to.
There's been a lot of distractions every time.
But there's also another big announcement this week, and that all of us are going to be in New Orleans.
That's right. Yeah, no, we kind of got that all confirmed. That me, Nate, Dustin, and even basketball. VZ's going to have to write some football stuff. It might not be recruiting, but he'll write some football stuff. But all four of us are planning on being in New Orleans together. Me, Nate, and Dustin will go on about close to a 6-hour drive together.
We're in a
which
carpool.
Is going to be.
It's going to be awesome.
So I meant to tell you guys we're going to have to knock someone off the boat.
Off the boat?
I got an email back from the credential people, and we can only take 3 people.
Take the cap off.
So we have someone. I got the email back today.
No, you didn't.
I wasn't thinking about it, but so someone's not going to make the trip.
Look at it. He's so easy to tell when he's lying. It's the easiest thing. His eyes just get so nice and sweet. Look, his mouth's open. He would have called me. He would have texted me. We don't believe you.
So
close your mouth, damn it.
We're going to put a camera in the car, and we're going to record the 6 hours there and back.
Jesus Christ. What kind of film are we making here?
A lot of vape smoke.
Oh, man. There'll be a lot of gambling, a lot of good times. But, yeah, we're all four planning to be there.
I'll be critiquing Logan's driving skills.
Yeah.
Something tells – well, based off the pictures, I'm driving with the whatchamacallit? It's John. I don't know why I can't think of it.
Driving with the car?
No, dumbass. With cruise control on at 70 miles an hour.
70? Hell no. I go 80 down to Tampa. 80 nice and safe, though. 80 nice and safe. Nice and safe. That's all it is. But, yeah, New Orleans, we got to get there quicker. So I got some drinking to do when we get there. Real quick, though, I want to end this off if we've kind of wrapped up recruiting stuff. Phil Steele, as we all know, the magazine man. Make sure you go grab those magazines. But he's kind of – well, we'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right, so he's got Jamie Robinson. He has a preseason All-American second team. So Jamie gets his recognition there. And then this starts getting a little interesting here. He's got Jamie as first team here, All ACC. This is all preseason, of course. Second team, All ACC, is Alex Mastromano, Florida State's punter, as we do know. From Australia, we've got third team, though, with Dylan Gibbons and Micah Pittman. And then Phil Steele, man, roasting here. Robert Cooper on the fourth team. He's got Cameron McDonald there fourth. I think that's definitely reasonable. But Robert Cooper and no Fabian Lovett at all in this list. What are we doing, Phil?
No Fabian Lovett. No Akeem Dent. Okay. Those are the first two where I'm like, hey, hold up. Jordan Travis, I would expect him to be, somewhere on there with that, some of the hype he's getting. I highly question Lovett and Dent not being on there.
Yeah.
I think you can make an argument that maybe Robert Scott or Darius Washington should be on there as well.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and follow up on one of my spring little predictions. I think Amarion Cooper should have been there because the kid's going to be dynamite.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see. I don't know if Phil definitely missed out on Fabian here, and definitely Akeem. Maybe he didn't hear anything about Akeem's really good spring camp and whatnot. But wow, you definitely don't want to miss Fabian. I think Fabian tweeted earlier today a little emoji. I think he got the news there and maybe got gypped on the list.
Good.
A lot of people sleeping on Fabian Lovett.
Let me guess, you put Corey Durden as first team.
Now that would be funny.
He probably did.
Captain, take a playoff.
But I mean, anyone that's still sticking to magazines is, a little outdated anyway. His only contribution is killing trees.
Damn. Jesus Christ.
NoGameDay.com is environmental friendly, baby.
That's right. We don't go.
No paper used.
Well, until one of y'all get an article in the actual SI magazine, then y'all might not be against it and might have a whole case of them. But we're not there yet. We're still environmentally friendly here. I'm trying to see if he actually. Yeah, here you go. Give me a second. Let's see if he put Corey Durden, because for some reason national outlets just absolutely obsess over Corey Durden. On defense, 3 linebackers for NC State, Drake Thomas Payne, and then they've got Corey Durden at third team. So over Robert Cooper.
Interesting.
And obviously Fabian Lovett. So, and just like this is why we love Carroll. Who cares about the list?
It's true.
Yeah,
preseason lists are all about just generating.
It's just preseason fodder
and comments.
Yep.
The real list will come out in December. So,
Timmy, real quick, is asking, do y'all know when fall camp starts? We're thinking definitely it's going to be probably
last week of July.
Yeah, latter half there of July, just because Florida State does start off its season in week 0. Florida State, I got to make sure everybody knows, Florida State's not kicking off the season against LSU. They're kicking off against Duquesne, and that's week 0. So Florida State's going to start a little bit earlier, and we're here for it. That means we get to preview a game a week earlier than everybody else in the country. We get to start going to camps early, give you guys some good scoops. So sign me up.
We get 2022 national champion Florida State in week 0.
Timmy's saying, are y'all going to do a top 40 player this season? Nate's cracking himself up over here.
We don't have quotas to hit, so no. I mean, we can.
I don't think we're going to do a list there, but maybe we'll have a topic here on the show to discuss.
I might do something.
I think 40 is a little bit too much, but I think we can do.
I like 20.
I think we can do the top 20 players on offense and defense.
That's 40.
No, I'm talking like total. Like,
man,
it is still
June.
There, so
yeah. No, but yeah, I think that's going to practically wrap up everything. Shout out to Mr. Antonor Winston, Jameis Winston's father, for hopping on here. I definitely want to try to get him on later on down the road because I have a lot more questions for him. But appreciate him coming on. A lot of good insight and some nuggets there, and even for Jonah Winston going to be in town, thrown in front of Mike Norvell. We could see maybe later on down the road a little offer from Norvell going after the young Winston there. But, yeah, I think that's wrap it up. Everybody enjoy the rest of the weekend. As always, y'all can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. Hit the subscribe button if you have not yet. Make sure you guys are in the Discord, too. We're going to start pushing that a lot more this offseason to get you guys in there because there's a lot of recruiting scoop going on. And we're on current unicorn watch season right now. So make sure you guys are on the Discord.
I'm even posting more now again. So
look at this. What a time to be alive.
I've been putting a bunch of stuff in there.
And Logan's going to give me the phone number on the way to New Orleans.
Never in a million we'll lose all of our subscribers. We'll lose them all after that. But everybody, enjoy the weekend and make sure y'all stay cool during this heat wave. See you guys. Enjoy the weekend. Bye. Peace.